Welcome back to Comics, the podcast where me and my mom look at our comic book collection, 2 issues every episode. And we're going to start with Fantastic Four 258 today, which continues our theme of comics where the cover is being destroyed. And this has one of my favorite characters in it, Doctor Doom. And in fact, this is a weird issue of the Fantastic Four, which in a lot of the Fantastic Four, they claim that it's the strangest, perhaps the strangest issue ever, some variation of that. But this one is really strange because none of the Fantastic Four appear in this one. It's all Doctor Doom. So this is by John Byrne. He wrote it and he drew it. And it looks like it's from 1983. And we start off with Doom, who has just retaken control of his kingdom in Latveria. He was kicked out, and there was Sorba, the usurper, was in control, but he is now the king of Latveria again. And it says that the Fantastic Four are all recuperating because they just had a big battle with Skrulls and Gladiator. Gladiator is the guy with the mohawk. I think he has blue skin. He is not Yondu from Guardians of the Galaxy, but he's like the Superman type character that works for the Shi'ar Empire. So it starts off and he says, "It is good." And we have this really cool splash page.
The artwork, even on the first opening page, is excellent.
Yeah, I really like the art in this one. So we have this big splash page of Doom's town, or this is Doomstadt. They're rebuilding after this conflict where Doom had to retake control of Latveria. So I guess they're putting some pipes in or something, but everybody seems to be happy and working on rebuilding this kingdom. And that's kind of what Doom is thinking about here, is now that he's in control, he wants to lead his country to prosperity. And everyone's happy, as they have been commanded to be. So
He's such a narcissist. These guys don't look that happy. And they're not even doing the work.
yeah, I think they're playing a game. It looks
But
like
she
he's
looks
playing
very-
chess or something.
She looks very happy.
So Doom is interrupted because his loyal servant Boris says that there is a gypsy girl who wants to speak with him. And this gypsy has learned that Doctor Strange doesn't have a disciple. And she says, "As a master of both science and sorcery, Herr Doctor, I thought you would want to know. You have served your liege well, my child. I shall not forget this. Leave me now. I have much to ponder." So the man reputed to be Earth's sorcerer supreme is bereft of a disciple, eh? It would be unseemly for Victor Von Doom to acknowledge any man his master, and yet Stephen Strange does possess knowledge which might be of use to me.
Oh, no.
I like when they do a close-up and you can see his funky eyelids. The little
How many times do they
Injury.
expose his face?
Not that often.
I'm thinking I can't.
It happens from time to time, I think, but it's a pretty rare occasion.
It's
I
more
also
for
like the
shock
way-
value. Like he'll do it to shock people, or
Well, I think he prefers when people don't see under his mask. I think that's why he wears it everywhere. I think he tries to keep underneath his mask as a secret. But yeah, every now and then the writers will either allude to him not wearing it, or I think there's a few scenes where we actually, as the reader, get to see it. But after reading like the first 10 years of the first back issues of Fantastic Four, I don't think they actually reveal his full face. I think it's like obscured
okay.
most of the time. I do remember one where he's getting his portrait painted, And I think I can't remember if he has the mask on for that. But he's saying, well, my people need me now, so I better not worry about Doctor Strange. He says, perhaps someday I shall meet this Doctor Strange, and then he shall learn which of us is truly the master. Makes me wonder, this is like 20 years into Marvel Comics, and I guess they haven't met yet. There are some stories that they interact with. I think Doctor Strange tries to help Doctor Doom get his mom out of hell or something like that. But that must be after this story. So it made me wonder, wow, have they really not met?
Yeah.
Later in this issue, they allude to Doctor Doom fighting the X-Men. And of course, he's fought, maybe if not all the Avengers, many of the characters in the team, the Avengers and the Fantastic Four. So I don't know.
That's enough to keep a guy busy.
Yeah, you think you would run into Doctor Strange at some point. So first he comes in to check on young Kristoff, who was the son of a woman that Doom had sworn to protect who was killed. And so he adopts this boy who's in his lesson here. And the tutor says, oh, I don't often get to tutor children that are so attentive and quick. And Doom's like, I need to bring him to see some things. So the first thing that Doom takes Kristoff to see is this formation of Doombots. He likes to inspect them personally. Because one of the first things that Doom in the Fantastic Four comics is known for is being a master robot builder. He's also a sorcerer, and he's good at like stealing powers of other people, like the Silver Surfer in Secret Wars. I think he tries to steal the Beyonder's power or something like that. But he's a good robot builder. He notices there's a scratch, though. He says, Robot A76, you have a scratch on the shoulder of your armor. You are not a combat unit. How did you come to be damaged? And the robot says, the human arcade struck a match there during a recent confrontation with the mutant X-Men, sire. So that was in 145 through 147 of Uncanny X-Men. I think that's the one that has a really good cover that I like, where Doom has defeated all the X-Men. He's holding up a big chalice. So I'll have to. I don't think we own those issues, but I might have them in the trade paperback in the black and white. So it might be cool to look at those at some point. Because you don't think of Doctor Doom as an X-Men villain. And Arcade is like a red-headed, goofy villain, like a freckled, nerdy. He kind of reminds me of Mojo. He's not grotesque like Mojo, but he's obsessed with video games, I think, and he like has video game themed plans or game themed plans, and they're all deadly traps. So he's kind of like the Riddler or something, or kind of in that vein. So anyway, Doom says, I see. And in what manner did you terminate Arcade for this affront to the personage of Doom? And the robot says, I did not terminate him, Master. I judged it conceivable you might have need of him later. Need? I love that.
Jeez.
Doom needs no one. So somehow Doom, I don't know if he has a little button he presses or something, but he stares at him for a few seconds and the robot blows up.
That's crazy. That would be terrifying as a kid. If one of your parents took you down to the dungeon and there were like 100 of them.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, that's one of my favorite panels. I like the way that the colors change in the background.
The intensity.
From red to yellow and then to nothing at all.
Jeez.
Remember that, Kristoff.
His face.
It is an important lesson. A ruler may surround himself with many underlings, for he cannot be in all places at all times, but he must never forget that he and he alone is master. It's a good lesson, I guess. I don't know when that's going to come in handy for Kristoff. Maybe he's grooming him to be the next leader of Latveria someday. So he also takes Kristoff to his throne room where he hears people's petitions. They have like, it says he's like a Latter-day Solomon, so they have some grievance and they're like, Dr. Doom, you gotta help me. And he makes mostly fair, but always final judgments, it says. It doesn't really get into detail about what they're asking him. But yeah, that would be scary too. You have to go there and ask Dr. Doom for help. So the next morning, before dawn, Dr. Doom gets out of the shower and he has these. I guess these aren't Doombots because I think Doombots are the ones that look like him, but these are the purple robots. And they're the only ones that he lets see him unarmored. And again, we don't really get to see his face. It's all obscured from us. But they put all his clothes on after his shower. And he eats some breakfast. And
It's so old-fashioned. It's so 1800s, you know? Like, you'd think he'd be like Tony Stark and just have his suit fly to him and attach.
yeah, that's a good point. I don't know if Iron Man even did that at this point.
But he is so, the way he speaks is so old-fashioned, too.
Yeah, I think that's what's so interesting about Doctor Doom is he's got a nobility to him.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Magneto, where they've got dignity and like their own code of honor, even though they're mostly evil. They have like a kind of a more complex worldview than just like robbing banks or killing people.
He drinks tea.
And yeah, he's having his breakfast when Hauptmann has popped up on the screen and says, "Hey, this project is complete. Who dares disturb Doom at table? It is I, Hauptmann, master. You ordered me to call you the moment the project was complete. At last, at long last." So Doom in the elevator ride is recounting way long ago. So this would be Fantastic Four 57 through 60, it says, where he lured the Silver Surfer to his castle and snuck up behind him with these defibrillator-looking things and stole his power. And he was like a god with the power cosmic. Except Reed Richards tricked him, and he threatened him with some kind of device, but I think it was a bluff. And to escape, I don't know if it was the ultimate nullifier, the thing he threatened Galactus with, or whatnot, I don't remember. But to escape, Doctor Doom started to fly into space, not remembering that Galactus had put a curse on the Silver Surfer.
That's right.
That there was an invisible force field preventing him from leaving Earth since he quit being Galactus's herald.
That's right.
And so I guess if you steal the Silver Surfer's powers, you're also subject to that limitation. So he crashed into the barrier, and that messed him up. So that was a long time ago, though. That was quite a few issues back.
Didn't he have some issues with his identity, too, when that happened? Like, it kind of made him
I don't know
mentally...
about that. This is 258, and that was all the way back in issue 57.
Holy
so like
cow.
200 issues earlier.
Yeah, that's...
I like this big page of all the electronics and circuitry and stuff in this lab. Hauptmann says, "Okay, I think I figured out if you sit in this chair how we can get you the Silver Surfer's power all over again." And he's trying to invite Doom to sit there while Doom picks him up. I like the way he just
grabs him
him.
by his butt.
Yeah.
Come here.
And he throws him in there and seals the door and turns the machine on. And of course, it doesn't give him the Silver Surfer's powers at all. It kills him. It says it begins. From somewhere deep inside the arcane engines, a sound begins, a sound like none ever heard on Earth. Raw power coruscates through Hauptmann's frail body. His limbs expand, his mind fills with concepts beyond human understanding, and he screams. Screams with every last atom of breath in his tortured lungs. Screams until his scream drowns out the awful noise of the machine. Screams until there is nothing left with which to scream. Tisk, tisk, poor, poor Hauptmann. Evidently he was not so successful as he believed. So you might think that Doom just thought he was a bad scientist, and that's why he didn't want to be the guinea pig. But Doom was thinking a couple steps ahead. He's talking to his robot here. His
His robot looks aghast.
Master, your actions disturb my protective circuits. If Hauptmann had received the power cosmic, he might have used it against you. He might have destroyed you. There was no danger of that eventuality, A-17. I had suspected the artificially recreated power might be too unstable for a human body to contain. Hauptmann's eagerness confirmed this. He had long hated me for killing his brother. Had Dear Hopman truly succeeded, he would have already used the machine on himself. I think that's a callback, because I think there was a different Hauptmann in the early FF, back in the era that we were just talking about, like 200 issues ago. I'm pretty sure I should have looked it up because I have it in the trade paperback. But in another adventure, he has like an ex-Nazi scientist working for him. In those early 60s Marvel, there's a lot of like ex-Nazis and stuff. Or I was just reading the Uncanny X-Men number 12, the first appearance of Juggernaut. And Xavier talks about him and his brother being in the Korean War, and that's when he found the Crimson Gem of Sidorak and became the Juggernaut. And it's funny because the historical events are referenced pretty often in that era of Marvel in the 60s, but then the further you get away from the original golden age of Marvel in the 60s, they're a little fuzzier with referring to like Vietnam or the Korean War or whatever, World War II, because they're, it makes the characters way, way, way older than they possibly could be. But that's one
Right.
cool thing about the early ones, is it's very connected to the real world that way. So anyway, Hauptmann does die. I think he was going to betray Doom or something, and so I guess that's Hauptmann's brother. He's probably also a Nazi. So anyway, Kristoff comes in, and he says, "Master, are you busy? I've come to say goodnight." And he says, "What are you doing?" And Doom says, "Searching, Kristoff, searching through my archives for someone powerful enough that I may place within them the awesome power of the Silver Surfer, yet craven enough that I may use him to further my greatest plan." So I guess the power cosmic was too much for Hauptmann's human body, and it would do the same thing to Doom. So he's trying to find somebody that can withstand it. And Kristoff says, "Well, what of the evil mutant known as Magneto, Master? I have read that his power rivals even yours." Rivals,
Oh, crap.
right? And so he grabs him by the scruff of his robe. "No one rivals Doom. No one!
Oh, my God.
Doom is supreme. There is no power on earth, no intellect in all creation equal to mine. Master, you're hurting me. Begone from my sight. You have angered me beyond measure. Go to your quarters and remain until I summon you again."
Yeah, go change his underwear after that. Holy
Yeah, it's like when your dad
cow.
freaks out at you for no reason when you're a kid. And you're like, "I don't know what I said, but touched a nerve, I guess."
Wow.
Stupid, insolent
Look at that
child. To even
face.
suggest that a freak such as Magneto could be rival to Doom. Magneto, who has lately permitted foolish human weakness to dilute his own schemes of conquest. No, the erstwhile master of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants is of no use to Doom. But there must be someone. Yeah, it's funny how expressive his mask is for being...
For being an object that is metal, made out of
Yeah,
metal. It doesn't move.
He makes it flex. He built it, I guess. So that's why it has those overlapping plates on it, I guess. I always like that weird,
Tooth.
the weird electric teeth thing he's got going
He's
on,
like
too.
invented the grill.
Yeah. So he does think of someone that might be able to withstand the power cosmic. So we flash to New York City, and we're in a hospital when we see his purple robots. You think they'd be able to communicate with each other.
Without talking.
They're networked together, yeah, but they talk. And actually, we get to see a couple heroes. We see Captain America and Iron Man. Certainly, hope Ben will recover Iron Man. He's been through an awful lot lately. "I wouldn't worry too much, Cap. The Thing's one of the toughest men alive. He'll pull through fine." And they're
Whoa.
alluding to something that happened in Marvel 2-in-1 '96. And the Doom robots say, Captain America and Iron Man, they spoke of a member of the Fantastic Four. "If he is here, we could..." "No, Unit 7, the Master is aware of the Thing's location and condition. Our instructions are to leave him unmolested. Come, we have another mission here." I'm glad their orders weren't to molest him. All right. Moments later, "Morning, Bob. How's our John Doe today?" So this is not the Thing. It looks like it could be. This is one of my favorite panels in this issue,
Yeah.
too. This angry person in triage or in traction or whatever, and he's got this little nose oxygen tank thing.
It does make him look like Ben, though.
Mm-hmm. And so their plan is to kidnap this person who's so gravely injured. And the doctors are talking about how they've given him a glucose martini. Yep, that sugar and alcohol solution seems to be holding his condition, but it's hard to tell if he's healing or not. None of his chemistries come out anything like they should be. If only he could speak English or any language we know. And you see the hands of the Doom robots reaching towards them. And
That's terrifying.
they kill them, I guess, or at least knock them out. And I guess, the person had broken every bone and every major bone in their body. And that's who this is. We'll figure out just in a moment who that is, if you recognize him.
Oh.
So they pick him up, and he's like, be careful. Dr. Doom said he doesn't want him injured anymore. So they kind of awkwardly pick him up in his full body cast and blow out the window and get him into this fantastic car-looking thing. I always like the jagged line that it leaves, like the little chemtrail thing.
That would completely freak out most people if you
Saw a
changed.
big yellow Nike swoosh looking thing.
That's how you flew. Can you imagine a plane flying like that, dropping down?
The quick turn makes it
That's crazy.
look fast, though. It's a good way of
It is,
selling
yeah.
emotion. So they're going back to Castle Doom. And who is it in the full body cast? Because this is 6 weeks later. Well, it was Terex. Terex, who I guess his real name is Tyros or Tyros the Terrible, is a guy with he's kind of got like male pattern baldness, but like he grows out the sides and the back to make up for
Wouldn't
it.
you?
He's actually from a culture where even the women have
Okay.
baldness and long hair in the back. So Doom confronts him. He has installed some kind of translator chip so they can speak English to each other. And Tyros is like, well, who the hell are you? You dare heal me? And Doom says, your rage is magnificent, Tyros, and justly so, but direct it not against the person of Doom, for your life now rests in the hollow of my hand. I am master here, Tyros, and before you protest that irrevocable fact, you would do well to listen. Listen. Do not question how I gained such knowledge, Tyros, but be assured I know you, know who and what you are. Once you ruled the city of Lanlac in the northern hemisphere of a world called Burj, fifth moon of the gas giant Marman, 80,000 light years from Earth. And he recounts what had happened earlier in the Fantastic Four, where Galactus needed a new herald. And so he enlisted Tyros and made him into Terrax the Tamer. Terrax is this axe-wielding guy who has earth manipulation powers, or like rock, not just the planet Earth, but any like soil or stones or whatever. He can manipulate them.
Wow, I wonder what that would do against Ben Grimm.
Exactly. You think he'd be
Wow.
able to control his whole body. But it says, but like so many before you, you turned upon your master, thinking your own puny power to be a match for his cosmic all. On Earth, he stripped you of your energies. Transforming, even as you fell, you plunged from the top of the World Trade Center, plunged apparently to a certain death. So that's how he broke every bone in his body.
Holy
But though you
cow.
fell, not all the fall was in your mortal form. You were smashed almost to jelly, but you survived. And it is your very survival that tells me you are suitable for a project I have in mind. Your story has a strange ring of truth, one called Doom. Say on. The time for words is past, Tyros. Time is now ripe for action.
He pushes him. Get in there.
Basically, that's a funky cover.
Do we have
looks
that
like
one?
anime. I don't think we do. We might.
More
It's
room
something
for the art.
about reformatting the cover, I guess. More Marvel magic. So he gets Tyros in these fancy blue and orange duds. He kind of looks like a DC character, so like he could hang out with Darkseid.
Uh-huh.
And he puts him in the Silver Surfer machine, and it doesn't feel good. He kind of looks like the Human Torch. He's got all those lines on him, and Robot sees him. He bursts out and says, I don't know if it really works. He says, Tyros remembers. He's not mad. He remembers the cosmic glory, the boundless power to crush and shatter and smash worlds. Tyros remembers the unspeakable joys, the dark and evil pleasures, and more. Tyros remembers whose fault it is that these things are now lost to him, the Fantastic Four.
Ah,
Good, Tyros, good. Know you then that your enemies are mine also, that I have raised you thus to destroy them forever. The power to level mountains at will may no longer be yours, but I think you will find enough force to shatter them and to send you on your mission of vengeance a special sky sled of my own invention. It looks too frail, Doom. It is enough to suit my purpose. I guess the sky sled looks frail. Weird way to describe it.
he takes to it pretty quick.
A few minutes later, well, Tyros, is your question answered?
Okay.
Completely, Doom. It is as if the sled is an extension of my own body. Then go, Tyros. Go and seek you our enemies. I am gone, Doom, and the lives of the accursed quartet can be measured in hours. Master, I must question the wisdom of this course of action, with the alien Tyros thus empowered. Why would Doom build robots that could question
him.
his...
Because it only makes him mad.
How smart are these robots? He presents no more threat to me than did Hauptmann robot. I have not, you see, told Tyros quite the entire truth. I love this expression on his face. The techno-suit he wears does more than control the energies now rampant within him. It serves also as a life support system, delaying the destruction met by Hauptmann. Tyros has no more than 5 hours of life before the suit burns out and the power cosmic consumes him. But that will be enough time for him to subjugate Reed Richards and his 3 partners. Then I shall deliver the coup de grace, the destruction of the Fantastic Four.
See, you can't kill those robots because they have the pictures. They've seen him naked.
Yeah. Yeah, they get him dressed every day, so they know too much. They put all the pictures in the cloud or something. They're like, if I die, these are going to get published.
If I'm not here at 7 p.m. to push that button.
Yeah, exactly. But some great facial expressions in this issue.
Really good.
And it's really cool to see such a villain-centric. Like, we're not even, I guess, aside from the cameo, the one panel where we see Captain America and Iron Man, they're not even the heroes of this story. So it's cool to, I always liked the Doom issues. In fact, one of the best early Fantastic Four issues is when they tell Doom's origin story. We'll have to look at that one.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
In more detail in another episode.
And the one thing about Doom is that there are a lot of bad guys. But like Magneto, he'll change his mind. Or he'll pivot.
Doom's the same way. That's why they're both interesting, I think, is because every now and then they'll work with the heroes because there's either some greater threat or they have some code where they don't want to do something for some reason.
But when he's done with somebody, he's done.
Yeah, they're very... I would say that Magneto is more on the side of, he's more often been a good guy than Doom. But I recently read one, I think it was the first time that Doom helped the Fantastic Four. Like, I guess he's been fooled into thinking he defeated them, and he's like let them live due to some honor. But the first time he really overtly helps them, they're fighting something called the Overmind.
Oh, yeah.
And they can't beat him. And so Sue goes to ask him because Reed is getting beaten or is knocked out or something. Sue goes to beg help from Dr. Doom. And he almost gets killed helping the Fantastic Four. It was a really good issue.
We should do that one, yeah. So I made a mistake and read 2 Marvels, and so
This is our first episode where we got 2 Marvels.
2 Marvels.
Nothing wrong with that.
And
we don't do the Defenders very often, which is kind of a funky team. I like it, though.
I was really drawn to this cover. The color and the artwork on it.
Well, these are some characters you don't get to see all the time. It's when Doctor Strange is the most recognizable character.
Exactly. Well, and Valkyrie. Valkyrie is...
Yeah, she's pretty... But in the MCU, she's so different. Mm-hmm. If that is even the same character.
I don't.
Was she a Thor character originally, or is that an MCU thing where they make her from
She is from Asgard, and
Asgard?
at a certain point, she's talking to Hellcat and says that she was called daughter by Odin.
Oh, okay.
So that,
Must be the same character then.
but
And who's
yeah,
that gargoyle guy again?
let us find out. I like his costume though.
There's a DC character that's really similar to that too. I forget what his name is, but he's like possessed by a demon or something like that.
But the cover is very action packed, and you open it up,
The Gift.
the gift, and you see
This is a 1983, so similar era to
similar
mine.
era.
It's funny, I was thinking about how much of what I think of as classic Marvel is this era of the early 80s. It's funny contrasting. Now I've read all of Stan Lee's original run on Fantastic Four, and I've
Oh,
been
wow.
reading the next writer, Roy Thomas. And there's some things that are better about it and some things that are worse, but when I think about growing up looking through all these back issues, the era that I think of when I think of like the characters in my mind, the way they're illustrated or written, is John Byrne, really. This era.
Interesting.
So this is, and similar with the X-Men, that
The X-Men, yes.
Chris Claremont, John Byrne era is like the standard, and everything's kind of
Yes.
judged against that.
They're my favorite, yeah. So they are the Defenders, and they have come to this storm-swept glade in upstate New York to remember a fallen comrade.
Oh, and this is written by J.M.D. Mateus, who I remember. I think he did a good run on Spider-Man. He's known
really?
for that too.
So what we're witnessing here is Doctor Strange is making visible this like funeral pyre that they set for their comrade.
It reminds me of when Ben Grimm puts on his trench coat and big hat to go out on the street. He's like, "This will help me look normal."
The
I
size
guess.
of that hat would have to be ginormous.
You think you would be cracking the sidewalk and stuff, or what if the thing was walking by you and he actually stepped on your toe and just like broke your entire foot?
Oh my
like,
God,
ripped your foot
yeah.
off.
Yeah. Or if he just brushed against you.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Sometimes you actually bump into somebody with your shoulder or something.
He
It
would
just like
completely-
send you flying. Oops, killed another person.
No, Sue would be there and put you in a little shield, a little guard around you.
Hopefully.
So then I love the facial expressions. And Nighthawk, I'd like to think that wherever your departed spirit has journeyed, you can hear us.
Oh, Nighthawk.
Hear the words of Doctor Strange. And so he put a mystic spell. It's a mystic flame that burns, and it's concealed.
Wait, is that the Overmind? That's the Overmind. I was just talking about
Yeah.
him. I didn't know he reappeared. I should have recognized him from his funky hat.
Yeah, there's some coinkydinks here. And so it's going to burn regardless. He's just made it visible for them while they're there. And the Overmind is a crazy character.
They make him very godlike. In his appearance in the Fantastic Four, he can like, I think he summons a giant tsunami at one point and I might be mixing him up with someone else, but he has his headquarters at like a junkyard, and he takes a human form, but that's his like real form. I think what happens is one of the other cosmic beings comes to cancel him out because they fight him, and Doom joins the fight, but they really just slow him down, and they're about to meet all of them, the Fantastic Four and Doom, about to meet their fate, and some out of nowhere solution happens where I think it's not the Beyonder but the Stranger, maybe one of those cosmic beings shows up and he's
Okay.
like, "Hey, you can't destroy the Earth, this is too important." I think it's one of those issues where Uatu, the Watcher, comes to.
And
That's how they learn about the Overmind. I don't interfere, except the only times I appear are to interfere.
yes, I was just watching a What If, and he said something very similar to that.
Yeah, it's a goofy character. So the Overmind, what is he
so-
up to?
So anyway, and he said his
He
words
becomes that girl.
speak for all of them, but one. And men have called me the Overmind. And then he powers, but this alien form is merely a shell housing the united consciousness of 6 telepaths, one of whom was a human named Mindy, who loved you, Kyle Richmond, so very much. And so she makes peace with Kyle and the memories, and Dr. Strange comes up, we gotta go. That was too much, we gotta go. And so illusion is dropped and a new reality emerges. No begins to emerge. We who are the Overmind are in transition, shedding old skins, yet still uncertain what lies beneath. So in her talking to him and coming to terms with his death, she kind of has let go of her past, and now she's transitioning to looking to the future. So her regrets have been dealt with.
And it seems like they really fleshed out the Overmind since the first appearance I saw him.
Yes. But one truth we now see far clearer than before. We cannot move on until all the beings we once were have made peace with the past. Yesterday must be laid to rest before we dare reach for tomorrow. No, we must leave you with much regret and much gratitude. Wait, this is no time to be alone. I know about transitions and shedding old skins. When I became the gargoyle, it was rough. I never came out and said it, but I needed people more than I'd ever needed them before, and the defenders were there for him.
I guess that's what you would call that character. I think I said the gargoyle-looking guy. He's the gargoyle.
He's the gargoyle. Well, I remember the gargoyle with the beast, when the beast got his puppy.
Oh yeah, is that the same gargoyle? He was
I
on
would
the
think
Avengers.
so.
Was that the David Letterman Avengers issue or a different one?
I think he was.
I can't remember whether the Beast was temporarily a Defender or if Gargoyle was part of the Avengers with Beast.
Good point.
That's one thing I like about Beast, though, is that he was an original X-Man, but he was an Avenger, too. He had his own title for a while. I think it was in his solo series that he became Blue.
Oh, really? Wow.
Because in the original run on X-Men, he was just like a broad
I wonder if they
fella.
have trade paper, but like what we have for the Fantastic Four, with the individual characters and their
Some
books.
of them.
Really?
Some of them, yeah. I've got Wolverine and Captain America and Iron Man. I think they do make a Luke Cage one collection, a She-Hulk, but some of the more minor characters not so much. Like I don't know if there is a Beast collection, but they should put one together.
Yeah, I would like that. Overmind, since the threat of Yandroth first united the Hulk, the Submariner, and myself some years ago, the Defenders have evolved into something far more than a team. We are a confederation of friends. They're
It's
holding
funny
his
he
hands.
mentions that because I got the first collection, the Essential Defenders #1, and who's on
really?
the cover? But those people, Submariner, Doctor Strange, the Hulk, and I was like, oh, I always think of like Starhawk and Valkyrie, but that's a cool thing about this team is they've changed a lot over the years, and it's such a weird mixture of powerful characters. Where like some of the teams, they have like their like most powerful member, like their ace in the hole, like
Superman.
Right, like if anybody can help us, it'll be this character. The Defenders, it's like you got the Hulk, Submariner, who is basically maybe even more power. Yeah, probably not as strong as the Hulk, but can fly and breathe underwater and all this stuff.
And Doctor Strange, who can go anywhere.
And
take
Namor
people.
can summon giant leviathans like Aquaman.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And yeah, Doctor Strange is immeasurably powerful. So it's kind of a weird team that way. There's a bunch of haymakers. They're all really powerful.
Yeah.
I think Silver Surfer was on it for a while, and he can just like create matter and stuff like he can just manifest
And it
anything.
almost seems like they're the B team.
Right? It's like it's
Or
got the
even
most
lower,
powerful
you know?
members, but they're not that popular.
Yeah, it's crazy. I like how they're holding his hand.
Maybe that's why they're less popular, though. It's hard to write characters that are so powerful.
Right. Well, like with when they have Superman in the group and they're fighting out, sometimes they'll have him out doing something else so that they can kind of power down, and the other
that
the
makes
other
sense.
characters can shine, kind of, you know.
That's one of the tricky things I think about writing a team book. Is you got to balance the characters. I mean, sometimes you can ignore some of them. That's something I've noticed reading the Fantastic Four from the first issue, making my way up to the present slowly. Is there's little periods where they're like, this character's gonna quit for a while, be replaced by this other one, or she was on the team, but a lot of the times Reed would be like, Sue, you gotta stay home. And it's like they couldn't think of something for her to do.
Aww.
That's actually one thing I've noticed that's different now that I'm in the Roy Thomas era, is they make Sue a little more feisty, and she's like, no, you can't tell me what to do. I'm going to fight with you guys. And she actually just quit the team over Reed bossing her around and preventing her from participating. So Medusa is the fourth member right now until she comes back.
Wow. But yeah, so they said a confederation of friends, existing as much for each other as for the world. The Overmind smiles and nods his massive head. He is big. I mean, look at his hand compared to Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
So
That's a funky looking helmet, too.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of that, what is that character from the Crisis on Infinite Worlds, the Anti-Monitor? It's kind of, doesn't he have that kind of like helmet shape?
Cut out. Yes.
Oh, okay. Got a little
So Doctor
transition
Strange,
here.
yeah. And in response, Stephen Strange gestures, stripping away all semblance of normalcy and revealing the master of the mystic arts.
Gosh, so much purple.
A lot, yeah.
He's even turning purple. It's like a little printing error. His head's turning purple.
And Isaac Christian's transformation is a bit less flamboyant. We can get going just as soon as I stuff my street clothes in my bag and say a proper goodbye to the ladies. So they take off to help the Overlord, leaving Valkyrie and Hellcat behind.
God, if you were watching the sunrise and you saw those three, what the hell?
Who's that big guy? They're gone. Strange, I felt no grief here tonight, but a sense of peace and warmth, as if Kyle's spirit were here indeed, gazing down upon us. Then unburdened... Oh, that's where we're different, Val. I just felt like crying my eyes out. I still can't believe Kyle's really gone. Then unburden thy heart, Patsy. Give voice to thy sorrow. And they talk as they wander back into town. And then we go with the guys, the fellas, and they're in Lakewood, New Jersey.
They're going to play some basketball?
Playing some b-ball. They go to Lakewood, New Jersey. In the schoolyard below, 4 boys dart like living shadows across a basketball court, trying desperately to stretch the final minutes before the inevitable call for home and bedtime. And sparking a strange and wondrous metamorphosis. Which one? He looks very intense there.
Yeah, his
The
eyes
child,
are
Philip.
shadow.
Those are my pals down there. So one of the
He's got the
humans.
Baron Mordo eyeshadow on or something.
Yes, he does. Exactly. And so the Philip, the child, comes out of the Overlord, and
That's one of the personalities.
yes, Doctor Strange is like, son, you can't just. And the gargoyle's like, let him be Doc. Let it play out. Oh, geez, I can't wait to see him. So he runs down there, climbing over the fence, comes running out. Mickey, Paul, Jim, Will. Hey, who's that? Look alive, guys, it's me. It's Philip. And they're real happy to see him.
Well, you can tell because of his word bubbles are all jagged. So he's like, it's Philip. They're like, what?
Huh? But Philip's a girl. He goes, hey, what's up? And they're terrified.
That facial expression.
Yeah, and he grabs them. And the one kid stays behind. He goes, oh, you know me the best. You knew me. It's me. And he goes, it sure looks like you, Philip, but...
You're dead.
Uh-huh. And he had died in an explosion.
Yikes.
And so even his bestest friend takes off running. And he's you know.
I'm glad
he's-
none of my friends in childhood died in an explosion.
I
That'd
know.
be traumatizing.
And
We had very
this
few
would be
explosions at our school.
this would be a great movie moment to have them come walking out of the shadows behind them. But they're like, Philip, do you understand now? After the explosion in Colorado, which fused your mind with those of the other telepaths, all of you were reported as dead. And in truth, you are dead. For the Philip that the world knew before no longer, he takes off. He goes, exists. No.
So that was Defenders 106, which I missed it. 117. So that was quite a while ago. A decent.
Decent amount. So he, where
Almost
do
a
you
year.
go when you're hurting and you find your way home? He peeks in the window. He goes, why, Jerry? Why is it so hard for me to accept the fact that he's gone? Every night as I lie, this is a typo. Every night as I lie, bed, I can see his face. Every morning I keep expecting him to come bursting into the bedroom, hug me, and say,
I've noticed that, but pretty seldomly. But
It
in
is
those
seldom.
trade paperback collections, I think they preserve the typos the way they were originally published. Because every now and then, that's the most frequent error is just an omitted word, like
Yeah.
in or the or something.
and sometimes it looks like even like there's a little bit of space, like maybe they just,
Yeah, that's what I've noticed too. Like there wasn't enough space for the words. So I don't know if it's like maybe something during printing changed, or I don't know. I think they probably hand lettered it. So
Oh, yeah.
at first it's like, did they not think it was gonna fit, or they didn't want to clutter up the word bubble too much?
yeah. So right after she says all that, he comes in the window. She passes out, and the dad is shocked. He's like, Daddy, what is it? Why are you looking at me that way?
He had a Rocky poster, a Spider-Man poster. He has a Hulk
Oh.
garbage can. Hulk merchandise needs some new ideas, I
New
think.
class. They need to
New
class
Hulk
them up.
garbage can.
New Hulk toilet seat. So the dad's like, get your filthy hands off of me. And he's flipping out because they're,
Because
he's
their
dead.
dead child walked through the window.
Yeah, but then you see a hand come out, touch his head, and Doctor Strange, in the name of cosmic mercy and the lotus heart of peace, let remembrance of this vanish, let their pain now find release.
He's looking kind of
That's
funky
creepy
in
as
this
hell.
panel.
Yeah, and I like how caring the gargoyle is, though. Because looking at him, you'd think the person who looked like a man would be more caring, and he is. But Stephen
It's kind of like
Strange
Nightcrawler
is.
that way.
But yes,
He looks like a demon or
yes.
something, but he's one of the nicer
Nightcrawler
people.
is one of my favorites. And he looked right in my eyes and didn't believe it was me. You aren't you anymore, Philip. Not to them.
I really like the colors in this panel.
Yeah, a lot of purple, like you said. It's still. She's wearing purple. Purple curtain.
It's a nice way to
or
do
wall.
the night without making it too dark.
Yes. Yeah, it's perfect. And your friend Jim said it best. You're you and yet you're not you. They'll never forget you, Philip. Never. But it's time you've got to move on. But it's so hard. And he hugs them. And I think we're ready now. So off they go again into the moon. That's a really cool, it's almost Halloween-like.
Mm-hmm.
And then the D&D.
Yeah, we've seen that ad pretty frequently.
And then an interlude.
It's almost like comic nerds would also play D&D.
Interesting.
Oh, I remember this little gnome-like fella. I can't remember much about him, but I know the image.
And it says, on a dusty back road somewhere in South Carolina, a Model T Ford rolls serenely along, its driver whistling a gay medley. Its passenger, a trifle more agitated. I don't understand this. A few minutes ago, we were driving down Fifth Avenue in New York. How did we get here? Where are you taking me? Cool your jets, Miss Bloom. I told you I had information linking those creepy defenders to the death of your beloved ex-boss, Kyle Richmond. And I meant it. But that information is locked up somewhere nice and safe and far away to boot. So just hang in there, Toots, because we've got a long ride ahead. The elf resumes his whistling. Interlude ends.
I think I know why I recognize him. We have another issue of Defenders where he's on the cover. It's like his back is to the audience, and the Defenders are like onrushing him, and he's got like a little ray gun or something. I'll have to dig that issue out.
Yeah. And then in New York City, Patsy, what is it? I've tried to speak with thee, but thou art distant, cold. Who me? You must have me mixed up with another happy-go-lucky Hellcat. Thy words cannot mask thy true feelings from me, Patsy. The Valkyrie doth know thee far too well. Do you, Val? Do you really? Maybe once you did. Maybe the Valkyrie used to. Hold! Gaze below, Patsy. Dost thou see it? A cop car chasing somebody. Big deal. 'Tis more than that, Patsy. 'Tis an invitation to adventure. Come, my friend. She looks
angry looking horse.
Oh yeah, he's in for it. He's got a nice set of choppers though too. So they go down, and most of the guys, she stops the car with her bare hands. They're like, she's stopping the car with her bare hands. And most of them take off running, but these two, they don't. They face her, and they're like, we've stolen $500,000, and we're not giving it up. And she's like, hey, shoot. And so her enchanted sword just fight,
Dragon Fang.
Yeah, why do they always have to tell the name? It's like...
They're proud of it.
I know, but if you had an enchanted something, wouldn't you pretend that you were...
It was normal, so they would...
Yeah, and that it was you that was able to do that.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Because then they wouldn't want to steal it. But, so they take off running. And so now ye have decided to join thy fellows in flight. And she catches them. That would be intense, being slammed with a sword like that. And Hellcat comes down. Sorry to disappoint you, Val, but the cops already rounded him up. A pity. I was looking forward to the hunt. Yeah, I'm sure you were. Well, look, Val, I'd love to continue this stimulating conversation, but I've got to get going. Good night. Patsy, wait, why are you... Get your hands off me. She turns on her, yeah. And for an instant, Brunhilde is too stung by Patsy's unexpected choler. What is that?
Collar.
Unexpected collar.
It's like
so much
the word cholera. I think it's an old-fashioned word for like anger or like sickness or emotional sickness or something like that.
At that point in time, reading that, I would have run to my mom. Mom, what's this word? And learned a new vocabulary word.
It makes your words all spiky like that.
I want some of that. And in that instant, the Hellcat swings off in her claw-lined grapple, a fading shadow against the moon.
Teeth look funky there.
Oh yeah,
too
they
rounded.
do. Aww. Here she looks when she's talking about the hunt, she's focused. It's nice it's nice to see her have some vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
So she takes off after Hellcat, and Hellcat's like, stop following me, Val. I want to be alone. Patsy, in all our years as friends, ne'er hast you spoken to me with such bitterness. What hath Brunhild done? How hath she wronged thee? You haven't wronged me, Val. You're just different, that's all. Since I found my father, the mental powers I developed on Titan have been slowly reviving. Defenders 111. I can read your soul, Val. I can see how being reunited with your original body has changed you. And frankly, what I see scares me. It's as if you're you, but not you. The way you were relishing that fight just now, the way you talk, the way you carry yourself. Patsy, please listen. No, you're not my Val, not the Defender I knew so well. You're some goddess from a mythic land who's a total stranger to me. A stranger!
She stabs the sidewalk.
Yeah. That was speaketh madness. It's crazy to read in that.
I know some of the Asgardian language is a little It's a mouthful.
She goes, oh, well, if I needed any more proof of how Val's changed, this is it. That look in her eyes is pure bloodlust. And I made her angry. Now she's gonna pick me up? Hey, what the heck? What the heck do you think you're doing? Thou shalt see, Patsy Walker. Thou shalt see.
That's a cool sequence.
Yeah,
It's kind of
it
like
is.
reading Ben Grimm's dialogue, where there's so many dropped G's and other weird street talk.
So, yeah,
inflection
so
that it's-
your.
Yeah, it's all phonetically spelled like that. It gets tiresome after a while.
But when you're reading it in your head, it's kind of like it takes on that character,
Yeah,
which is kind of
yeah.
cool. But just
Reading
when
it
you're
out loud is a little
reading it out
clumsy.
loud sucks. So then we cut back to the boys in the South Bronx, and at this point, he lets out of the group Ursula Richards, who grew up here, very poor, with her family, and she wanted things differently. She wanted better than what her folks had. Her folks became trapped and poor. And so she saved every penny she had. She got an education, and she got a good job. She made good money. And she got a real life. And she blames the ghetto for her being alone because she just focused on getting money and a better life, that she didn't have relationships. Mm-hmm. She lost her parents. She blames the ghetto for taking them away from her. And so in her anger, God, how I hate. And so she hates the ghetto. It has to come down. Every rat-infested ruin, every death-haunted tenement, it's all coming. And then the group, starts to pull it down. And the onlookers on the street are happy because they're like, hey, the city's been promising that they're going to tear all this stuff down, and they haven't done a thing. And this is a really cool drawing. I like how they do this part in shadow and this part with the light from...
You could get construction companies to, instead of having to get like a wrecking ball, just like lure some supervillains somewhere. We need this building wrecked. Just get some superheroes to fight some villains here.
And so he continues, and until...
You're just punching the building.
I'm just... Take this! Overmind. Until, Overmind, Ursula, you must stop. For in your desire to ravage yesterday, you have nearly slain tomorrow. There were children playing in this building.
Yikes.
Only your quickly woven spell saved their lives. What a fool. And so she faces her demons and lets go of the past. And off they go again. And then we're back with the girls, Point Promontory, Maine. They're flying everywhere. They're going all over the East Coast. All right, Val, why'd you bring me here? Dost thou recognize this place, Patsy? Sure, this is where we took on that Omegatron gizmo.
That was back in issue 69. And then they're going to reference issue 5. This is a real time-spanning issue.
It kind of makes me wonder if they're planning on, in the next issues, dealing with this stuff. So they had to remind you.
Oh, definitely.
Come up with it, you know. For thee, 'twas the first time, but Brunhild dost battle the evil Yandroth's creation before. 'Twas my baptism of fire with the defenders, my first and perhaps proudest moment on earth. 'Twas then that the woman I was, stripped bare of all memory, identity, by the magics of the enchantress, first began to forge a life for herself. For in accepting, alongside Doctor Strange, the Hulk, and the Submariner, I took the first step toward finding myself. As the months and years fell away, the blank slate that was the Valkyrie was inscribed with tales of wonder and dread. Many were the evils encountered, and many the joys revealed. This is a cool montage of characters. This guy is intense.
Yeah, he's Mr. Extendespine. We'll have to look through the old reprints and see which issue these
Yeah.
refer to. These look like they might be Hydra agents or something.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that guy though.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like him. And no joy was greater than the simple joy of friendship. No, 'twas more than a joy, 'twas a precious gift. But Patsy, now I am more than the Valkyrie thou first bestowed that gift upon. I am the true Brunhild, with full memories restored. I am a goddess of eternal Asgard, called daughter by the All-Father himself, and I am proud of who I am and what I am. And so they come to terms. Patsy lets down her guard, and they embrace as friends.
The single tear.
It's all I can spare. And in Greenwich Village, at the sanctum of Doctor Strange, a breath past midnight, a whisper before dawn. Oh, that's nice.
They're doing all these adventures, and Doctor Strange's like, "Can we stop at my place? I need to move some furniture.
I
You're
know it!"
really strong." Okay. Then we're going back to another one of my personalities.
This is so crazy. Such awesome power do we possess. This alien form can topple mountains. Our minds can unleash destruction with a single thought. But what we wonder, do we truly know? Tonight, however, perfunctorily, we have seen all our past laid to rest. We have let go of yesterday's hand, but what of tomorrow? We have so much to learn. So much of our humanity, both the grand and the base, still echoes within us. Our past selves remain inside us, and we cannot forget them or the lessons of the life they learned. We only pray that we can use the memories of who and what we were to impel us forward toward what we can be. And they left out some. We only did Philip, her, and her. So we have these three.
Yeah, maybe that was in the previous issue or something, or maybe they just didn't have interesting vignettes for those characters. Ooh, Hulk angry, Hulk sad,
Oh,
Hulk
that's
dead.
That's awesome. That would be a great T-shirt.
Yeah, that's really cute. Hulk can't die
Aw.
though.
Apple pie department. Hi, Mom.
Yeah, I kind of miss reading the letters pages in the newer comics. They don't have them anymore, but there's
Ooh.
usually some interesting stuff in there.
That looks interesting.
Red Star. I'm not sure if we have that one.
Yeah. But we see now that we cannot face the future alone. And so he comes to terms. Everybody shows up. And then the girls show up. Pardon me for busting in at this hour, guys, but we were passing by and saw the light on. Patsy, Val, you're just in time.
He's going to be a member of the Defenders now, the Overmind? Wow.
He goes, thank you, my friends, for this great joy. 'Tis more than a joy, Overmind. 'Tis a gift. So now we should end on 'tis a gift to be humble. 'Tis a gift. It was all
love
about
that.
friendship.
Yeah. The Overmind, huh? I'll have to
Which-
dig out that first appearance of him because
I'd
they
like to see
really
the
developed his
transition.
character since then. I
Yeah.
guess after 15 or whatever, however many years go by, he's bound to take some changes. I wonder how often they take like a one-off villain years later. Well, maybe we can put a
guy
new
had-
spin on
Yeah,
this.
this guy had promised.
Especially for the villains, since they sometimes come and go so briefly.
Well, I mean, and they
It's
did
like a blank-
Magneto
blank
taking
check.
over the mansion and the kids.
True.
But yeah, it was an interesting issue.
Well, we had 2 Marvel this week. We'll just have to do an episode where we do 2 DC. That'll
Okay.
even out.
We could do that.
So if you enjoyed this, thanks for watching, and give us a like, comment, and subscribe, and thank you.